Okay.
Okay. Hey, team, how we going? It is Kaz and it is Lauren. I'm not trying to be Lauren. Lauren, hello.
I'm here. Hello.
She's here. We've seen her over here in chat. We can see you are all here in chat. It's amazing how you flock like flies when it's something to do with failure and something where you may come unstuck on the tightrope of life within the military industrial complex. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. How you can fail things, what your actions on are if you fail something, and why you've failed things from an instructor's point of view to future serving members. And to those that may not be watching this live, it's a real thing. And you know what? It's the biggest fear. And it can happen to every single one of you. Because normally when you fail, it doesn't have anything to do with fitness. It's got to do with just your time where you don't pick something up, or amplification of information that you're taking in, like information through a fire hose. You just have a glitch in the system, so to speak, and you fall off. Anyway, we've got Ann Calladar here. We've got someone said something about a Kelly bean before. What the hell is a Kelly bean? I think that was KD.
I think he was just saying he was keen as something. They were making up rhymes or something. They were keen.
As keen as anything that's not mustard, because that'd be a cliche that's been overused.
Yeah. Did you know that as soon as your chat opened today, Leo Wanker, stuntman for life, came straight in with a donation?
No.
He did.
What if that goes to show you? Sometimes you're right, like a clock, twice a day, even when you're broken. Leo, thank you very much, sir. To what do I owe the pleasure?
He's always in there with one, though, isn't he? He's good.
Look, he is. He represents well, you know, and it is an absolute privilege. I haven't been drinking. I have Coca-Cola out of the bottle, plastic. Sorry, Dolphins. But it's a pleasure to see the maturity you have with each other, the mentoring that happens, the fact that you turn up early. It's fantastic. Yep, it doesn't chat my ass at all. I never get sick of it, JJ. JJ goes soon. Tonight we're also going to talk about a couple of things where the COVID, what used to be my favourite exotic Mexican overpriced beer in Australia, has struck twice. Here's an information update that you may not know. Soldiers in Western Australia that were about to leave, one of them starting with D as his name, Dave, okay, was getting ready for oath or affirmation, hand at that angle, not that one, because that would mean something else, especially in a different time era, got told, this is not your day because of the COVID outbreak. Let's give it another week and see how we go then, and it may be longer than a week. So let's put all of them guys behind. What's also happened in the USA is not only did we get really sad news about Jodie losing her sister to the COVID, God rest her soul, and I hope it was quick and painless. But Ed B's son has now been withdrawn from 11 Whiskey, US Infantry, 11 Bravo, but before he gets there, Whiskey I believe it is. And he actually has COVID along with a bunch of his buddies. And one of the dilemmas we were talking about is the fact that he's still too attached to those that he mustered with. Not mustered with. You know, trying to keep in touch with those that he signed on with, those he done his PFA with, all that sort of stuff from his region. You know, you need to let it go. Let it go. And you need to attach yourself to your new family. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. Detaching, separation anxiety. The fact that COVID is just a medical way of a quarantine occurring in somewhere like the School of Infantry, somewhere like kapooka, boot camp, Navy, Air Force equivalent. It can happen for the flu. It can happen for gastro. It can happen for an investigation. There is many reasons why a platoon can be completely turned off. Okay, and then from there, okay, investigations, all that quarantine period happening, which blows everything out the door. Let's get to the chat for a little while, and then we'll go to the content, because it's going to be a diatribe tonight. It's going to be a bit of not a rant. It's going to be a monologue in a moment, which can't afford to be broken. So then later we can make that a smaller video for those that can't stay for the hour and a half.
Good idea. To start with, I think we should give a shout out to Jai, because he's actually been sitting here the entire time waiting for the stream to begin.
And for those that don't know, this is fairly touching, this screen here, because Jai, if I remember correctly, is still going for aviation. We've also got Tyson Walker, who should at the moment be on the beaches of Bali, who just got married to Grace, who now shares his name, Walker, not Runner. So congratulations to our newest married couple in chat. Grace, all the best to you. You've done well for yourself. Maybe.
Indeed.
We've got Mr. P. We've got Jay Hayes here, West Side, or brother of North Side. You can find him up there. He won't let you down.
Yeah, West Side's burning, so, I'm praying and thinking about all those people in the Perth Hills.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I'm disengaged from that because I don't watch mainstream media anymore. That would have told me don't buy silver stocks today, Kaz, which I did and tumbled. We've got Simon Powell here, Air Force, Blue One, we'll call him. And what else? Who else we got here? We've got Leo Wanker, stuntman for life.
Yep.
Always here. Jessie Bray, how's the little one?
Yep, she's good. Apparently she got out of hospital today and she had a big giant smile for Dad.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
The Joker. Carl P. Carl got some, has got to go through a hurdle, so to speak, with his enlistment process now, which kind of sucks. But, very mature man, went in there, analysed the situation, unpacked it and realised this is just part of the journey. So all the best there. And we've got a Spartan here as well, a Spartan in pseudo-Roman legions. Treyo, to what do we owe the pleasure, sir? Hey, Kaz, can you read that out because your voice is better than mine, please, Lauren?
Hey, Kaz, from WA, and it hit like lightning. I am now only allowed one person QT at my enlistment ceremony, which sucks. I'm in a group chat with 8 others who are enlisting with me on the 8th, and none of us have been affected yet.
Okay. Trey, what I would say to you and those 8 others is be very careful about how matey you get with each other. Because what's going to happen at the moment, the only thing you have in common is where you're going. You don't want to have a conversation build up which is not built on the stress, the indoctrination of turning up at kapooka and then actually seeing the raw side of people's personalities and then seeing them as a person instead of a teammate. Because then it can be, I don't want to be in that person's room. I hope that person isn't around me. Oh, that guy's a dickhead. That can happen in the training, but there is a requirement within the herd to tolerate each other. But I've known a few people that have been held up around each other for a while in quarantine and couldn't stand the sight of each other by the time they got on the bus together.
Yeah, someone else is saying that they're holed up in quarantine. Was it SOS, I think, was saying it?
Yeah, I think it was.
They've all just gone into lockdown. So there is probably going to be some differing kinds of delays and things like that. But just try not to go stir crazy. Try not to get cabin fever. It's a real thing.
Especially when the skills and resilience and the team, what would we call it? Patience hasn't been built into you yet as the common herd that needs to overcome goals together. But Treyo, I'm going to do what you'd never do in the army anyway. I'm going to give you a left-handed funky Navy salute with a baseball cap on, like A-Gun for those who watched F-Troop.
I remember that.
Thank you very much for your donation, sir. And that will go on a Scotch fillet for my dog while I watch out of jealousy, voyeurism, dog eating steak.
Come on, that's a bit weird. And Kalada,
the dragon.
I received my medical appeal back and have been cleared to continue for further assessment. That's great news, Kalada.
Double thumbs right there. Fantastic, team. That's great news.
That is really awesome.
And it's also a testament to your personality and your dogged ambition to actually make it in the military that you received bad news, and instead of becoming the victim or resting on your hands and saying, "Oh well, I tried," you fought the law and the law won. So well done, mate.
Yep. RW has asked, "Hi Kaz, how would one get into 2RAR? Is it possible to put it down as a preference at the School of Infantry?"
Yes. As a matter of fact, when you get to the School of Infantry, you'll be competing for the positions, and they will tell you somewhere around halfway through the School of Infantry what positions are available for the battalions, i.e. 20 positions for 1RAR, 2 for the 2nd Battalion, 17 for 6RAR, 4 for 8, 9, example, 4 for 6RAR, for 3RAR, 5 and 7 included. You will find out and you will compete for those. If you want to go to Adelaide, the land of single mums, then maybe Daz can pick you up with his Hyundai and your luggage, and he'll go and show you the one girl in town that's still single, and then ask yourself why. But yeah, mate, you've got to compete for your positions, and the best way to do that is say it loud and proud from the start. That's where I want to go, and this is why, and have a reason. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds fair enough.
Tommy Sinor, what's he saying there?
Mate, my hurdles for enlistment have been few, but my application has been on hold until I sorted some things out. Coming Monday, should have no more hurdles and ready for enlistment. Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Just jump through the hoops you've got to jump through and get it done.
Yeah, and Draco is asking, is the army full right now? And it basically is. It's been pretty much full for a few years now, because the rollover that was happening because of operational tempo, where people tend to go overseas, go, you know what, I don't want to be away from kids again for that long, or I've got some money in my bank account, or you know what, now I can go and be a tradie. A lot of people did that. But at the moment we've got a fairly fresh group that's in, so it'll still go for a little bit longer.
Yep. Apparently I'm a little bit quiet.
There we go. They wouldn't say the same about a mother-in-law.
No. Max Emery has said, "Hey Kaz, I don't get on to watch live much due to my schedule, but I've got my psych interview tomorrow. Pretty keen on it. You've been a massive help, mate, and I hope to send some funds soon. Cheers, legend."
Look, no one has to send funds, but when you do, it goes a long way and it helps, because it costs money to run the channel. Appreciate it, mate. You just do you, and I just like hearing the great news. We had a young fella, we kind of saved his ass. Hey, lovely Leah, how you going there, hibiscus woman? We had a young fella yesterday who I spoke to at length until I realised my daughter was in the park where I was walking around, and he actually had mixed up the 2nd Battalion, the Amphibious Task Force group, the battle group. He had that mixed up with 2 Commando, but he was going for the Commando induction program, and didn't realise that he's going for 2 Commando, not for the 2nd Battalion. There's a massive difference in the timeline it takes to get qualified, etc. So it was fantastic that he actually got onto Patreon. We had the one-on-one chat, and it saved him from potentially a hell of a lot of embarrassment when he was going for his assessment session tomorrow. So when in doubt, for the price of a coffee, go to Patreon, have the one-on-one calls where I can talk to you even more stripped back based on your personality and what you give me verbally, or I can tailor something for you to make the package fit and save you from potential embarrassment, or even making the wrong decision with where you go. Hey, who we got here?
It's Max Emery, who we were just talking to.
Do you mind if I switch to glasses?
Go for it. We like you in your glasses.
Goggles, so to speak.
They suit you.
I wish they were the Google Glass that's coming out soon. Oh, that's better. Max Emery, you're looking very thick there in that picture there. Mate, to what do I owe the pleasure? Please, by all means, when you stand out so well with a Asian cow, whatever you ask, I won't dance, but Yeah.
Well, he's already asked his question. That was him throwing some funds at you.
That's fantastic.
That soon.
Hey?
I didn't know he meant that soon when he said, I hope to that you soon. I didn't know he meant right away.
Thank you. Hey, Nicky Wallace, how you going, mate? Liam Bryan, hey, there's nothing to worry about, just a needle. Little prick, so the girl said. Jesse Bray, hey, Kaz, am I able to call or receive one on Friday or Saturday? I'd like to have a plan about my enlistment and pay the road to Kapooka. Simply just send a message on the bat phone, mate, and I will make time for your schedule, mate. All I quickly do is grab a coffee and I go on a walk, and it normally ends up being about 40 minutes. I actually get some people that ring me going, okay, can I get off now? And I'm like, yeah, in a minute, a little bit longer. So the service is good. Who is there?
Did you want to get on with your talk?
Okay, I'm going to hit off with that now.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about now is a quick, probably 5 minutes or more, explanation on getting back squatted. How you get there, what happens, how do you recover from it? Because it's important. Okay, let's use someone's name here. Who should we use? Jaden Harrison?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we're going to use Jaden Harrison here for a moment. Jaden Harrison goes to the Army. Excellent applicant. Okay, gets through, and naturally you can have hurdles at the U session where you don't get your choice, or you don't get officers, or you don't get nominated for the 2 Commando direct entry program, or you can get to assessment, and then they see, why is there an inverted atomic bomb marble bag hanging out your anus? That's not meant to happen. How come your knees are making clicking sounds? How come you're puffing and panting at mild exertion? How come you seem to have a desire to get overseas today and do damage to a threat, any threat? Maybe you're psychologically a little bit imbalanced. Maybe it's you get your PFA and you had 2 Red Bulls and then had a stitch and couldn't do the sit-ups. But you can. That's how you can hit hurdles. Maybe you touched yourself with pleasure the night before and the protein went into your blood. And when you did the urine sample, they're saying there's something wrong here.
Good grief.
Well, that's what happened to me.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. They actually said, is there any chance you, thought about someone else's wife last night? Oh, what do you mean? And I went, oh, well, yeah, there was actually, to get rid of the nerves. And they said, well, that'd be it. Now you've got to piss in this bottle for 24 hours so the pathologist can make sure you don't have a problem with the sugars and proteins.
I've just learned something.
Yep, I was officially known as a wanker after that.
Oh.
Okay, so that's out the way. You get in safely, or you get the hurdles there, you get past them, or you don't. Then you get to Kapooka. We've said before, it is impossible to fail Kapooka. Unless, you fail by design, by attitude, by saying, I don't want to be here anymore, or act of God, you realise this is not what you want, or by the hatred of gravity on you, you're injured, spiral fracture on the ankle, whatever. Okay, medical, withdrawn. It could be because you're 17, your mum and dad have decided, we'd rather you have at home, you look like you're stressed too much, they're pulling the pin on you being as a juvenile. Okay, so let's just say that when Jay goes to Kapooka, he's met people at the PFA, he's met people on the bus, he gets to Kapooka, he's had the pricks in the arm. We're not talking about the Navy here, JJ, in the showers. He's been there for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, and then he's hit a catastrophic wall where for some reason something isn't sitting. He's got the problem-solving capability. He passed that in the aptitude testing. So he is trainable. So what else has happened? He's fit enough. No problems at all. Okay, medically, he's fine as well. He gets along with others as well. But for some reason, he's having a hard time picking something up. And there's gates within training that you must pass. Now, that can be shooting. That can be fitness. Both of those things I don't believe are gates as what they should be anymore at Kapooka. Or untrainability, where something's happening with your attitude, lack of sleep, stress, news from home, something, you get back sweated. So what'll happen is someone will basically come up to you and let you know, Jay, boom, come and see me private. What was Jay's last name? Jay Harrison. Private Harrison. Recruit Harrison. Come here, mate. Righto, stand there. Come in. Okay, so you're aware what's occurring is you have been back squatted. Stop crying. Don't be a sook. We don't tolerate that here. Okay. This is the reason why. Bam, 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 bam. If you fail something, you will be retaught. That's called a retest. If you fail, you still may get a second retest. But they don't have enough time to be able to do that. To retrain multiple times. So you fall behind and they decide this guy is undercooked. He needs to go back to another platoon. Okay, so all of the friends that you have in that platoon, your section, now are just people you used to walk beside and used to sleep beside. Because now you're going to go back to another platoon and you're going to join them so that you can go in at a week where you can go back before the level you failed at, be retaught, and you'll go over some of the other things. You might end up doing another week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks of training that you're already qualified in. But you need to go in there with the right attitude. You need to leave your past behind, and you need to go in there and you need to give these people a fair crack because you're asking them to give you a fair crack. So when you get back squad and you go in there, yep, I'm Jay Harrison. How you going, mate? Yep, I was in 12 platoon. Now here I am in 1 platoon. Happy to meet you. I'm a great team player. It's important that you know why I was back squatted. Yes, I've been back squatted, and I'll let you know. Great team player. Got on well with everyone. Fit as a bull. No problems. Absolutely loving it here. But for some reason, navigation, I just could not pick it up. And so they retrained me, and that put the stress of buggery on me, and I failed again, and they said, look, we're going to do you a favour, we're not hurting you, and they moved me back a couple of weeks. And now you're my new brother and sisters, and I can't wait to march out with you guys. So please, take that on board and help me to help you, and you'll realise it wasn't for attitude, it wasn't for lack of fitness, and it wasn't for lack of teamwork. I'm here to support the ship the whole way. So give me a go. You need to just rip that scab off. It's going to hurt. Spend a bit of time. Drop a tear in the shit house. Okay, while you're trying to get through Family Island, don't play it. It's an addiction. Where it really compounds and becomes hard is going to be after kapooka, or if you have multiple back squads, because now we're starting to see a problem. Okay, but let's just say you've passed kapooka, fine. So now you've got people you did oath or affirmation with, all of kapooka with, all of your indoctrination training with, talking about their families with, all the growing with, all the celebrating with as you went from red tabs to blue tabs to yellow tabs. And then you get on a bus or a bus, as I'd say in England or New Zealand, and then you start heading for the School of Infantry. You get to the School of Infantry and you know, because you were part of the channel of In the Trenches with Kaz, that the very first thing that's going to happen the day after you get there is BFA. And from there what's going to occur is they're going to look at what your skills are, and if there's 80 people there and only 60 are going into a platoon, 20 of you are going to miss out, that might as well be a back squad. Because now you're in with other platoons. You're going to leave your buddies behind. They might be the ones that don't make it in, or you may not be the one that makes it in. But when you get in there, again, your allegiance is not to the people you went through kapooka with. Your allegiance is not to the platoon you're in, whether it be Long Tan, whether it be Bin Bar, whether it be Kapyong platoon. Okay, now it is with the section that you're in now. And you might be in a section where not one person went to kapooka with you. Not one person is from this channel. Not one person do you have anything of any memory in common with you. So they're your new family. It's always your section. Always. The current section. But if you get back squatted in the School of Infantry, and it might be for something similar to live firing, where they might say that you're dangerous. Okay, it might be that you're not fit enough. It could be that your target acquisition or you can't pass shoots. There's a lot of gates at the School of Infantry where you will get back squatted like that if you can't keep up to speed. There's a high failure rate, and it needs to be, because you're going to go from that kid that goes to kapooka, and you're going to be, by attack week, wearing night vision equipment at night, firing live fire ammunition alongside 8 other people with ammunition firing over your head while you're engaging targets. Fire and moving, fatigued, maybe in the rain, fogged up night vision equipment where it's all about communication. And if something goes wrong there, real results occur. Bad ones, catastrophic, life-ending. So it has to be deadly. We have to be very, very quick in the way we deal with things. And I'll quickly give you an anecdotal story in why I should have been back squatted but didn't when I was going through the School of Infantry. I'll tell you that in a minute. But there's also fitness. You're not fit enough, back squatted. Injuries happen all the time at the School of Infantry. Things like back. Things like Felix the Cat, where he got pneumonia the day before he went out in before he went on the defensive ops. And he was coming first in the platoon, I believe, and got first in the platoon in Kapooka. There is injuries, we've stated that, from obstacle courses, from unarmed combat courses, from everything that happens within there. There is untrainable. It can be through navigation. It can be you just cannot keep up with the learning curve. It's very sophisticated going to the School of Infantry. It can be that you are injured while doing offensive operations. It could be that you can't swim well enough. It can be PT, you just can't keep up. It can be disciplinary. You can do something wrong on a weekend. You can do something wrong, or insubordination, or anything goes. You can get in a punch on. They happen too. And when those things occur and you get back squatted, now you're actually erasing all of your DNA from recruiting through to Kapooka, through to the weeks in the School of Infantry, but now you're actually going to see them in other platoons as you go backwards, and then you see that they're graduating before you getting their Skippy badge, seeing their hat change. Skippy badge on, you've got the RA Imp badge on. When these things occur, your mates should, like Survivor, give you a bit of a hug. You be right, Cobber. Now you're going to know all the blokes from 2 platoons. And when you go back to the other platoon, again, you go in there, let them know why you're back squatted and tell them the truth. Roll over a new leaf and get into it, because that's what's about resilience. Remember something. When you go over on operations, a lot can go wrong where you can get kicked out of a company, out of a platoon. Whether you're shot, whether you're wounded, whether you get malaria, whether something happens to a family member. There's a lot of reasons why this can happen. It just chooses a different time for everyone. Now, before I cease on this one, I'll let you know that I had Corporal Rice. He ended up going all the way to WO2. Fantastic guy. When I was a trainee at the School of Infantry, I've got a big scar here, actually, from where he kicked me in the back, and my M16A2 slit my chin. Blood everywhere. And he looked at me and goes, "What have you done?" And I looked at him like, "What have you done?" But you didn't blame anyone. You weren't a victim. I got booted in the arse for being too slow, and I learnt my lesson quick. But they were saying, go straight. And he meant the barrel of my weapon, So I'm crawling dead straight. But because I'd only seen the movies, when I was leopard crawling, live fire, and I had my weapon across my body, like I'd seen John Wayne do. I didn't realise what I was doing wrong until they said, no, barrel awareness. And I went, and then I never had a problem again. Okay, so misunderstanding. You can ask questions. You can say, what are you talking about? And we'll go, okay, mate, I'm going to explain this to you real quick once. And then you go from there. But don't make yourself a victim. Don't stay in the glooms. There's no there's no tolerance for someone feeling sorry for himself. You get back squatted, you go back, you lick your wounds, you get straight back onto it. You make the new friends, you make the new family, you show the resilience, because when you're in operations, when you're in the battalion, when you're in your squadron, when you're in your regiment, right, then you're going to need to be resilient to the things that happen, while you're actually in a unit where there is no back squatting, where it's all for real. Okay, so that's out the way. Make sure you ask in the main questions later, not just the chat here, if there's anything you need to know. because it's one of the biggest fears you can possibly have, and you won't realise it until you're at kapooka, that getting back squatted now means I don't see my family then. All my plans on the calendar, where I'm going to be in 6 months, are now gone. I'm going to 2 commando. I was going to 2 commando. Now I can't. Now I've been back squatted. Now I'm going to go to infantry corps instead of being advanced infantry, so to speak. So you've got something to be upset about. But this shit happens, and when it does happen, by coming to this channel, you're more prepared for when it happens and understand through seeing other people get back squatted. Also how to greet someone when they've been back squatted and look after them. Put a wing around them, so to speak. Okay, can we read about James Solomon there? He's saying he's in 7RA now.
Yep, hang on. I'll just get to that. Hi guys, I'm in 7RA right now. Just want to say, don't be afraid of back squad. I've never been back squatted, but I know heaps of people who have, and by the end of training, they didn't really care.
Yeah, and I reckon that's an excellent comment there, James Solomon. Yes. You absolutely should care about being. You should care about being back squatted.
Yeah.
There is a lot of shame that comes with it, but do you know who the shame comes from, Lauren?
Who?
It's self-shame.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst kind. But that's the kind you can grow out of, that you can actually become better from.
Yes.
Because if you don't feel like bad when you've done something that you could want to do differently next time, you've got no motivation to change or do things differently. Do you want some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, first we'll start with Jake Williams Cameron. Said, hey Kaz, good to see you again, mate. Me and a bunch of others are off next Monday. Super keen. We're all pumped. Any last tips or words of advice? Thanks heaps.
Get your rest in now. If you're near a beach, go to the beach, because it might be more than a year before you get to a beach. Understand that the time of the year that you're going in, because of the time in between courses, if you get to the School of Infantry, don't go straight into a course. It could be a year before you're actually near a beach again. Also, by the time you do kapooka and you do the School of Infantry, you're looking at between 6 and 8 months there if you're getting ready to start now. Don't assume that you're just going to get to the battalion and they're going to give you a bunch of time off, or you're going to get the Christmas holidays off, because you normally, depending on re-details, can end up working through your first re-detail period, which means when everyone else is down on their holidays, they're stand down, their BRL, you could end up in a guard room and doing the re-details, keeping the fires burning, so to speak. So what I'm saying is, don't make promises to people what you're going to do a year in advance. Let it flow, because there's going to be a whole lot of, I didn't expect that to happen between now and the end of kapooka. At Singleton, the end of Singleton, or artillery or signals or intelligence or transport or RAMI. Just follow the bouncing ball, be the best friend, and make sure that all of you make a pact with the person that you're in the room with, that they come before you. And if everyone makes that pact, and you watch the videos that I'll put on how to successfully navigate through kapooka, not just to become an all-corps Australian soldier, but how to actually be the best section at kapooka, then you'll actually become an asset, and that skill set will go with you for the rest of your military career and make you potentially a leader amongst peers. That's what I reckon.
Well said. Mr. Patterson's off to bed because he has some tests tomorrow.
Okay, Mr. P, I don't know what your tests are for.
I'll probably just...
Not algebra?
Yeah, no, nothing like that.
The urine test, I hate them. They taste like shit.
Yeah. Will B, who we know, he's been around here for a long time, said, hey Kaz, Will here, don't have a ton of time tonight, but just wanted to let you know I passed my assessment day for RAF and RAN pilot. These streams have been a great source of info. Cheers. Thanks for joining us, Will. You've been a great community member.
Well, instead of will I am now, it's will I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, mate. You need to be in RAF. You need to go and get your dog tags, because you won't work hard enough to make them, to make them, tarnished. So you need to wear them in the ocean, no shirt on, take up volleyball.
Yeah, for sure.
And start singing the girls in the nightclubs, mate. That's awesome. And in case you didn't know, where my parents live, is the youngest squadron leader in Australia in the RAF. And do you know how many times he gets to fly his F-18 or equivalent a week?
How often?
4 times a week. He's danger zone, danger zone, danger zone.
Yep. There's someone who just self-motivated, focused.
Yep, awesome. And he's got a lovely lady, lives on the beach,
Beautiful.
fighter pilot, flying over the ocean.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Okay, Draco has asked, is a click in the knee bad? Because you mentioned clicking knees before.
Where I'd imagine it's bad is you may not feel anything. You know, you might just hear the clicks. But what's bad is when you get the assessment stage, you know, the assessment session, and they tell you, okay, do 3 squats, and you go down, and they hear a click, they're going to go, did you hear what I just heard? If you got premature knee aging already around your patella, is this a future crippling injury that's going to actually make this guy unattainable to military? What corps are you going to again? It's just something to be concerned about, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, my knees click all the time. I've just always had clicky knees.
My knees are good because I didn't get promoted enough. You know, that normally means, as someone said, the golden knee pads normally mean, you know, that you spend too much time on your knees under the table getting those promotions up.
Good grief. Okay, moving right along.
Bit of Monica Lewinsky right there.
My knees have clicked since I was a little girl, thank you very much.
But you're a girl.
Yeah, exactly. Heath Kershaw. G'day, I'm going to RMC in July. How similar is RMC training to kapooka, and how different is a regular day-to-day life?
Well, first class at RMC is very similar to kapooka, where the instructors aren't there to be your friend. That's because you know there's 3 sessions. There's first class, second class, third class, and you will get treated because there's still a failure rate in first class, etc. So that is your general soldier skills. You need to always be on the ball. Be very careful of peer pressure at RMC. You will be treated like an adult basically from the start. Everything is there is to groom you into being a junior leader, having professional arrogance, but also knowing how to listen, but also being held highly accountable for your actions, mate. So it will be like kapooka, but there will be also room for you to be promoted within that role, because you'll actually be based off a cohort, which is Roman, but also off an infantry battalion. So what will happen is you will have people, as they show promise, because you police each other, you know, that you will get lance corporals and corporals and sergeants and CSMs and all that sort of stuff within your actual classes. And you'll hold that rank, but can lose that rank as you're going through RMC over that 18 months.
Yep, that sounds good. Okay, KD McLovin, who is a member, said he has a question. Kaz mentioned EW has a higher failure rate than SINGO. Any advice?
Electronic warfare, like for me especially, because I've got real problems with attention span, etc. What it used to be is you used to have to be very proficient at a very high level. I believe it was 40 words a minute in Morse code. I could do 12 words a minute in Morse code. You probably didn't know that. I was in reserve signals before I actually went for EW. But now it's learning other languages. You know, it's a top secret clearance. You know, and it's a very extensive IET course. You know, and I'm not sure if it's still 40 weeks or whatever. But that's a long time to be a goddamn trainee for. If you don't do very well, get to 35 weeks, then get back scored, or get told you're not the droid we're looking for, go into another corps. You know, so, yeah.
Shall we keep going? There's quite a few questions.
Please.
They're firing them at you today. Zane Robinson has said, G'day Kaz, glad to see you again. I'm in year 11, planning on joining the infantry at 18 to 19.
Good.
What should I do to better ready myself?
Starters, school. Don't waste your time there. Okay? What I mean by don't waste your time there is get the good grades.
Yeah, exactly. Work hard.
Yep.
See it as a stepping stone, as part of your goal. You're on the journey now, and school is one part of that journey.
Yep, it's a task. You're not going to like a lot of the missions you go on. You're not going to like a lot of the activities you go on. You're not going to like school, but just concentrate on the pies, the sausage rolls with the sauce, the girl in the front row, okay? And the fact that you were one of the luckiest people at your school because you were one of the only people that already knows at this stage what your life journey is going to be. So you're a privileged one to actually have inspiration for something when so many are thinking, what do I do next?
Yep, exactly. Lucas Ship says, here's a little motivation for you all. I've been trying to get into the Royal Australian Navy for 3 years and had constant medical setbacks, but finally PFA passed and enlistment day is locked in. That's great.
Okay, have you put your date down on the video so people can actually track who's going to what muster so we can put you in the book?
Yeah, make sure you do that if you've got a date. I saw someone else has a date, but I hope I haven't skipped past it. Yeah. Okay, that's good advice, Emma. She said, just a bit of advice, if you're sitting in school or really anywhere and very tired, do not say out loud you are sucking off the invisible man. No one looks at you the same.
It is true. It is true. And for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about there, that's what we call people, because you can actually get in trouble for being tired in the army. Yep. You know, if you're in a lesson, they're going to go, did you not get 8 hours sleep last night? There is no excuse for you to be sucking off the invisible man in my lesson. And you look up and you will see people, no shit. And I'm talking about officers as well as NCOs, as well as special forces, and you'll see them. Some of them go Venus flytrap. Oh. You'll see neck breakers where people in your lesson. And then there's the sucking off the invisible man where the person just is losing against the gonk monster, where we reckon there is a secret button on your anus asshole, and when you depress it after certain pressure is provided, it's a tranquilizer. And then you see people starting to go, sucking off the invisible man.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Post has some great news. Finished my last PFA today, off to Pookie in a month's time. Congratulations, that's great.
Then now you need to treat that like it's Conor McGregor in fight camp. It's time to get fitter. You know, you can't get fit enough. You're not just doing army fit, you're doing you fit. You know, because the extra you have, you're going to need to use that to help the team where they're deficient. You know, and because you're here, because you're getting this good oil and you know what's expected, now you've got no excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Jamman82 said, g'day, Kaz and Lauren. Applied around this time last year, had some hoops to jump through, including ADF prep course. 38, going in for further aptitude testing for artillery observer. Seeing the light now. Stick to it.
Okay. That's... You've got to be right on the ball with that aptitude test for that, because that's mathematics, you know, used in a environment where you're the outsider. You're going to be moving with armoured corps guys, infantry corps guys. You know, you need to be able to make decisions like that. Okay, well, extremely fatigued, you know, and they have to be right every time. You know, because you're normally going to be calling in fast air or some sort of indirect weaponry, okay, on the gunfire nets, which is going to be fairly close to either civilians, vital assets, or other friendly call signs. All right.
Yep. Okay, next one. J Baz.
Hey, Jay.
Baz, I'm an old bloke joining ARES.
Army Reserve.
Yep. What's your best advice to get through one RTB?
Sense of humour. You know, just be the old bastard. You know, and what I expect from you, from someone who is instructing, someone who is a self-confessed old bastard, is that when you come in, that your wisdom, okay, is balanced out with your sense of humour. Understand that you joined old. That's not the young people's fault. That when you go in there, that you help them. You allow your life wisdom to be the secret source for your section, the motivation, when the instructors aren't there. Keep your guys out of the shit. Okay, I will go easy on someone who's older, if they show they're displaying wisdom and making the ship move smoother. I'll look past a little bit of the fitness stuff, but if you're older and you're not using your wisdom and you're slower than the others, then I would start to think this guy, honestly, he just tried too late. And the other one is to be honest with yourself. What core are you going to? Right? And is that honest with the age that you're at the moment? And will the military actually get their money's worth out of you as well? So be realistic with yourself. Yep.
Exactly. Want to be an investment. Okay, Casey Baker says, thank you for helping me get ready to start kapooka next week. Keen to go. Thanks, Kaz.
Bakes, that makes you a Kaz as well. Yeah. Do you know Casey Chambers? Am I not pretty enough?
She's got a great voice.
What's her other song?
I don't know.
Imagine if your name was Casey and you ended up in the Navy or in the Army and you get to sing, 'cause I'm the captain and you are no one.
I'll have to look at that song. I haven't heard of it. Okay, David Penson, all the way from Vietnam.
Ma'am?
Yeah, young fella, just got back from a haircut and now he's ready to go to 1RT. He has had a gut full of hallway bills and stands by bed inspections, and he's only 2. Oh, that's adorable.
He'd better harden up. Can he get back squatted?
That's the timeout still.
That's funny. That's gold. All the best, little fella. What's his name?
Yeah, that's adorable, David.
Yeah, give him some chili.
What?
Well, if it's red, it tastes better.
Okay, Laxtian, I suppose that's how you say it. So, do you reckon I'm fit enough for anything in the ADF? I run a lot and I train with weights almost every day, and I'm only 15.
You have literally not told me a single thing about you.
It's a bit hard to assess.
Mate, I need to know your stats. As it is, you're 3 years off being able to go into the military. So, mate, you need to work out your diagnostics team. It's the best thing I can explain to you. You need to get these action cards that I keep talking about making that haven't made yet, where you know exactly what your personal best is for how fast you run 2.4 kilometres, how many push-ups you can do with someone supervising them for standard in 2 minutes, how many sit-ups you can do assisted, how far you can swim before needing a rest in a swimming pool. Can you run 3.2 kilometres? If so, how fast? So when people actually ask you, how many chin-ups can you do? How many dips can you do? What can you bench press? What is your maximum 1 rep? You need to know all these things, because then you're not just saying, I think I'm fit enough. You're saying, I'm fit enough. I believe I'm fit enough based on my statistics, which are bang, 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 bang. Okay, this guy knows himself. This gal knows herself. Sounds good. Or you can see the areas that already say that person has a glowing area that needs some work. Yep.
Okay. Little man's name is Anthony.
Anthony. Tony. Very Roman. Anthony.
How cute.
It is cute.
Okay. Sorry, there's heaps more questions. You just tell me when to stop, okay?
No, just keep going.
Okay. Reese Shaw has said, I was pushed back after my assessment day session for another year. I'll admit I was gutted, but after that I took on the feedback and I'm not going back until I know the feedback I was given is achieved.
That's awesome. Is there any chance you could let us know, with honesty, roughly what that feedback was? Was it immaturity? What was it? If you don't mind letting us know, because it becomes very valuable to others that might go, that could be me too.
Exactly. Or we might, Kaz might have some advice for you on how to achieve that. So we're, you're amongst friends here. Don't worry.
We're supporting the team. We want the boat to keep the float.
We're there for your failures and your successes.
And if you don't be honest, we can't put a fart back in the arse.
Yeah, that is what we live by here. Okay. Now let me just go down a bit.
Oh.
Hey, come on now. That's not why my knees click. Okay. Peter Mayfield, I finished and passed my physical today too, and I'm enlisting in March. That's great. Don't forget to put your date on the video that was put up specially for you too.
And we don't actually mean your date, as in like, you know.
No.
Yeah, Jaxie. Oh, great. Yaros is here. Now I need a kebab again.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey B, how you going, mate?
Go from butts to kebabs, you know. It's like I'm living in Townsville again.
That's right.
Okay. Any more questions? Hang on. I'm going right down the bottom now. Okay. I don't see any more questions. So if you've got anything else to say,
well, Dave in Nam is just says Corporal Rice from Royal Australian Engineers. No, he was infantry, mate. Top bloke. Yeah. He wasn't Asian, despite the fact his name is Rice as well. It's one of the funny things about a lot of the guys and gals that come to the channel. What it teaches them is also to have a thick skin and be able to have that dark humour, what to expect, and what not to be offended by when you're around brothers and sisters in the absence of technical or mobile phones, with no internet, with no packet of Uno cards. You've got to entertain each other through vocabulary. So what ends up happening is you start to take the piss out of each other. You start to talk out of subjects. And then you start to communicate, something that is starting to die in this civilization. And before you know it, there is nothing off the table. You can talk about any subject and absolutely nothing offends. I don't give a shit.
I'm sure that's one of the reasons why I have my best conversations with people who were riflemen, because they can talk about anything. There's no subject that you can bring up that they'll get offended by or won't want to talk about. Anything. And they'll have an opinion on most things. Or they'll throw ideas backwards and forwards.
Yep.
Okay, there is a couple more questions if you want them, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Now that I said that. Prasar has got his first careers coaching session on Friday. Any tips to make a good first impression and what to expect?
What is that you're going to, your careers?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Coaching session.
I thought that's what this is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something that recruiting does now. Let us know. I
don't know. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, nor have I.
Is it something they make you pay for?
Okay, Tom Sinor. My setback was having holes in my earlobes from having stretched ears in high school. Had to get them sewn and fully healed, then can resume. Yeah, but that's a pretty simple procedure. Yeah. But it's good advice to wait until you're older for those kind of body modifications anyway.
And you know what? And that's fair enough. You know, they don't want people looking like, they're,
Could actually even be dangerous, in a workplace. So, you have to do what you're told when it comes to those sort of things, and it's a pretty minor procedure. I'm pretty sure you're all good now. Okay, Luke Hutchins, thanks, Kaz, for all the advice. I'm enlisting on the 15th of February, day after Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been a lot of help.
Mate, it's such a long time away, but so close. Yep. So every night you're getting closer to the sound of flickering light bulbs, fluorescent light bulbs, like you're in the movie Saw or Hostel, beside someone who precariously is always laying with one eye, like Katy Perry, looking at you across their pillow. You're like, stop looking at me like that, dude. One of you is going to end up with the biggest freak in the platoon beside you. Law of averages. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, here's Emma's come in with the answer, as she always does. She's pretty well versed on the recruitment process. Okay. Careers coaching is part of the U session. They go through the positions you unlocked from the aptitude test. Very chill, just a basic questions about your preferences and fitness standards.
Okay.
There you go.
And that's another testament to why we say actually go out and know who you are by doing these analytical insights of yourself. Go and do the diagnostic to learn what your scores are for chin-ups, push-ups, sit-ups. All these different things is you knowing you, so you know what you can pass and what you can't, and what's going to be a problem to you and what's not. Even the professional food eaters on YouTube, they know they can eat a certain amount of calories. They can eat a certain amount of pounds of food. So when they look at a challenge, they don't look at what the food is for the complexities. They look at how much is the weight of the food, and then it's yes or no, I can't do it. And then they analyse, is it a starch food? Is it a protein food? What are the complexities with that? Matt Stoney eating the big gummy bear, ripped his tongue to pieces. Yeah, all those sort of things.
All right, Peter Mayfield. My enlistment date is on the 16th of March for my send-off to Kapooka. That's so exciting.
Have you guys actually listened to each other here? A bunch of you are going to the same platoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Callum, mate, I have my assessment day next week. Should I get a haircut or is any hairstyle fine?
What you could do is you could go in there, and as long as you address the elephant in the room, so to speak, and you go in there and go, in case you wonder about my hair, I'm anticipating being successful here. As long as the rest of you looks like it's well presented, and you go, and I want to make the most impact to the barber when I get to Kapooka, and they might think you're cute and go, yeah, okay, gotcha, act that, no problems.
Yep. Okay, Jai Turner.
Hey,
what
Jai.
about driving records for entering? I think he means, problems with his driving record.
Okay. Look, if you ask me, I'm going to go, okay, young fella, I understand that, you've got testosterone, you've got blood flowing through you, you've probably got a car you're proud of. But what it does, it also tells the army that your judgment calls might not be at the moment aligned with maturity levels that they want you to have around weapons. If you're like that around a car, and you've racked up all these tickets, endangered people, what are you going to be like when no one's watching, when you've got a machine gun, grenades in your pouches just sitting around, claymores, rifles, pistols, all these sort of things? Is that judgment call going to end up being a problem there? Is that judgment call going to end up a problem when the first night they say you can have 2 beers and you have 8? So they're just looking for disqualifications or focus points where they can look at you and go, yeah, mate, you're making it hard for yourself here. So everyone is a case by case. It also depends on how you go. And again, you can address the elephant in the room by saying, look, I'm the first to admit, that I've got a pretty bad driving record, but that's because of, and then you fill in the blank with something that makes it sound a little bit more, less, not that you're not taking responsibility for your action.
You must be honest about it, and please don't not tell them about something. There was someone who recently had a problem with that, and I don't really think it can be come back from.
Yeah. You can say to them, I've been a dickhead before in my driving history, and the whole point of me joining the army is it's time for me to start to mature up. Stand on my own 2 feet, stop making excuses, and be the best version of me for myself and my family and my country. So that's why I'm here now, to turn a new leaf.
Yeah, and people do get in when they've had problems in their past.
Yeah.
Don't, just keep going until they tell you not to.
I used to be a man.
Yeah. Now it's man.
That's ma'am.
Will Muskie says, hey Kaz, I've just completed all the document submissions. It's been a long time coming, but finally was able to complete them as I just received my Year 12 results. That's very exciting.
That's awesome, and that is a real sign of maturity and fortitude when I see people actually go through the academic retesting, reskilling of themselves. It really is a big deal. It is. And this comes all the way back to what we were talking about tonight, that you were going to meet failure at certain levels of your training, or within your representation in Australia domestically or when you're abroad. Now, that might be an ND, a negligent discharge. It might be a vehicle accident. It might be an injury. There's so many things that can go wrong, but that's what life is about. The reason we have these conversations is to tell you that it happens to everyone. You know, you've only got to look at people in jail and say a lot of them haven't done anything any worse than some of us, but the fact is they got caught, we didn't. And that changed the trajectory of their life. You know, so be forgiving of others as well.
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
Mr. Buckaroni is here.
Hey, Mr. Buckaroni. He's the best looking old guy in North Queensland. Hey, Mr. Buckaroni, how you going, mate? Mr. Buckaroni, he could talk to us all day, I'm sure, on the mistakes young men have made that are in the prison system that he's the guard with no friction, and be able to say that young kid could have had it all. Fit, can fight, good looking, you know, but got caught, you know, was a dickhead, got told pull your head in, didn't, and then the second time he sealed his fate. Yeah,
exactly. I bet he sees a lot of men who've made choices that they're going to be paying for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah, and it is a human tragedy.
Yeah. Mr. Buckaroni said, I failed to check my safety catch at Kapooka and copped an ironing board across the back to make sure I didn't forget ever again, and I didn't.
Yep. I used to give, to people in the battalion, I used to give push-ups until they couldn't even get up after that. But the caveat is I did every push-up that I gave someone. You know, I was just really good at push-ups.
Yeah.
Physical punishment, Australian Army's got rid of it and called it an illegal punishment. You know, all because some fat ass one day fought against it and said, I don't want that. Oh, what would you rather? A fine? Would you rather go to military jail? Would you rather lose a weekend? I do that so I'm not punishing your family as well, and so that you remember the pain in your arms while I'm also making you stronger. Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Real Trapped has got an honest question here.
Oh.
Bit of a touchy subject, but what is the reality of being truthful about use of drugs during assessment or enlistment phase?
Don't do it.
Be for a dismissal.
If you do that, you've blown your chances of ever being in the military.
It's not a confession session like Kaz says. However, if you have some sort of conviction recorded or it's written down somewhere, you may have to at least address it.
You will have to, if because what you sign at the end, if they might be talking to you candidly, but the importance is you sign it at the end to say that everything you've said is truthful.
Declaration.
And that declaration is a legally binding contract.
Legal. Yeah, exactly. So it's not just something you can lie about, but if it's not written down anywhere, that like you always say, Kaz, just you don't need to go in there and spill your guts about everything you've ever done wrong.
Yeah, and if I was one sitting across the table from you and it wasn't getting recorded, and you started talking about that shit, I'd go, either you're the dumbest motherfucker in the room,
exactly.
Or you're not really what we're after here.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you've still got it in your system because you can't even stop taking it long enough to go to what could be the last career you ever have in your life, then also maybe you're not suited for it.
Get some help if that's the case, because then you have an addiction. And I know people say you can't get addicted to things like weed and that, but you can. You can get addicted.
Absolutely, you can. Yep.
So, and if you need help, just go get help. Just go to your GP and get help.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Brady said, you will get blood tested as well. So you're going to need, for any job nowadays, I think you'll have to do a drugs test. So just, really, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, it's marijuana is one of those ones that, I think there's a massive difference between someone who's 40 years old, and uses marijuana as a way to go, but they're not in the military anymore, they're not a copper anymore, they're not driving their car and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
With someone who's 16 and has it daily and then completely stunts their ability to grow intellectually, or loses all their zest and passion for life because they're so laid back now that they become Garfield and just long for sleep and lasagna, you know?
It is a motivation robber, for sure. It is. Yep, indeed.
Ace loves it when we... he's saying there how he likes the fact we're straight shooters.
Well, we're not here to fib to people. We're not here to blow smoke up your bum. We're here to...
But we can.
We could. Yeah, exactly. But that's not going to help you.
You know what, Ace? I think the fact that we are like the kid that swore and then got smacked, and then we swore again and got smacked again, and now we just get away with being honest and our channel doesn't get attacked. And I think the reason we stick with this honesty is because we have wisdom, if not high overarching intelligence, which means you know that we're here to help you. You know, we want you to succeed. So that translates, and everyone else in here seems to be very respectful to each other as well.
Yeah, it's a very polite community. We've got all different age groups, like really diverse. Yeah. And everyone's, you know, polite, respectful, and logical. You know, we have a lot of differing opinions on things, but people listen.
Luke Craig, that's an interesting question, mate.
Where is that? Hang on, let me just see if I can find it. Luke Craig, did you say?
Yeah. He's a great member. Luke.
There it is.
I'm your father.
How did you, as a sergeant, deal with serious insubordination?
That's an interesting one, and I'll tell you, mate, because you asked. Now, insubordination, for those that don't know, means your insubordinate behaviour. In the military, you can't roll your eyes. You can't put your hands in your pocket. You can't fold your arms. You know, and I might even tell you, you're going to stand there, shut your goddamn mouth, look me in the eye, and listen to what I got to say. Other times, what it might happen is it might come in, close the door, sit down, and then you sit down. It might be, explain to me why you're such a fuckwit. What's your real problem? What is the real situation that's chapping your ass? Let me know. So sometimes a conversation. Other times it's straight down the line. But then there was other times where it was when someone did it out on town, and I made sure that I always drank at the same place that the soldiers drank. And then if anyone ever came up to you and had a problem with it, it was as simple as, no worries, mate. What do you want to do about it? We can sort that out right now if you want. Oh, that's not what I meant. That is what you meant. But you didn't expect me to react that way, did you? So either you go through with what you say, or you fuck off. And don't come near me for the rest of the night, because I may not forget it as quick as what you have. But in saying that, I treated my soldiers with respect. And I help my soldiers out whenever I can. And I believe that although I wasn't very good at paperwork, you know, I really generally cared for my soldiers. So I didn't actually get any insubordination. And if I did get a bit of a back and forth, I actually let them get some of their steam off without actually using my rank and go, you can't talk to me that way, I'm a sergeant, you're this. Okay? And I'll tell you another one. I copped the worst ass-kicking beating that I've ever had in my life of someone that was, I think he was a Lance Corporal at the time. Might have even been a section commander. Yeah, it was a horrible beating, and I was good friends with him. And I never took that back to base. He was, I believe, you know, off his head on the piss. I just got back from overseas. You know, he was basically insane over a woman. You know, that he wasn't getting, that he'd spent more time with than, you know, and felt like he was owed. And he lost his shit. I got king hit. After that, I copped a horrible kicking on the ground. You know, and I realised, you know what, I've got out of a lot of ass kickings in my life too. And maybe this was just karma caught up to me. And I don't think he could understand that I never pulled the switch on him. I could have screwed with his life from left to right, but I didn't do it. You know, because I'm as forgiving as what I am, a smart ass.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Buckarooni's got an interesting statement here.
Here you go.
Are we the best small army in the world, mate? Are we too soft, too touchy-feely? How can these kids expect to go to war if they think punishment is bullying?
And that is a weird one, because in infantry you won't see that so much. There's a different cause, have completely different populations inside them, have completely different character, trait, dynamics that are inside them, victim mentality inside them, and that has been made by politician mixed with the HR department, mixed with our hierarchy's lack of fortitude in fending off the politics and the identity politics, and saying, no, this is about capability. As a matter of fact, we're in peacetime, which means we can actually make it harder to get in, not easier.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, our ADF shouldn't bend for social politics. It shouldn't be. It should be the last thing bending.
You have a look at everything you see to do with defence ads now, and it looks like a BuzzFeed channel. It looks like the ads look like this Pollyanna world where it's all about multi-race relationships. It's all about LGBT. It's all about makeup and hair done in an operational environment that doesn't show you the hardship and rigours that makes people go, that's why I want to go there. I want to get tested. We're not supposed to try and make it look like it's a cadet camp. We're not supposed to be. But that's what we're trying to do, and so the wrong people are turning up.
Misleading. It is misleading.
Yeah.
Because that's not what the job is like. I mean, all those hard-working women who are in the ADF and have served in the past, they'll tell you it's not glamorous. I reckon they'd be upset if someone said, oh, it's glamorous for you. It's not.
No, it's not. It is for the ads, but that's it.
Exactly, and they shouldn't be selling it like that because it's misleading. And they will ditch you the second you're in those doors. Don't think they're going to give a damn after that.
With what Buckaroony says, are we the best small army in the world? Operationally, there was no complaints about Australia and Afghanistan, but we also didn't go and carry out the role of the infantry, so to speak, on a deliberate kinetic missions as an enduring force to win what we were there for. There's a lot of countries at the moment that you're starting to see now that come from second and third world countries that almost look like they've got the same combat ensemble as the USA, that are in continual strife, that are getting now training from Western countries, and they're picking up the slack, and they absolutely have none of the political correctness. But at the same time, we have technology now that says you don't need large forces on the battlefield, because if you do, they can be targeted by area effect weapon systems that are now precision weapon system, not dumb bombs. So it's
a fair statement, though, because I understand what he's saying with the watering down and the capabilities.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we need to come back to that question every few years.
Absolutely. And I think that they should be able to say, what are, just out of curiosity, list the top 10 armies in the world, punch for punch. Yep. We know America is by far the toughest, righto? Yes. But then it comes down to the qualities of the Western soldier. And one of the things that you get from New Zealand and Australia is the fact that you're getting someone who's articulate, public speaker, politician, someone who's extremely moralistic, despite what you're hearing at the moment, someone who is very capable on their weapon systems. The IQ level of entry into our military to go through those gates.
Exactly.
It's right, but do we have enough of them? And is there a requirement to have more? There's not, because you have to sustain the amount you have. And our shores are not in danger. Yeah. They're not being threatened.
You've got to remember that good old-fashioned Anzac ingenuity.
Yep.
We were colonies, and I imagine maybe the Canadians have it too. that when you're a colonial nation, you've had, your ancestors and our whole nation has had to make do, build, tie it up with wire. They're thinking soldiers.
Yeah, and although we need to make sure that we keep training for the worst day, conventional warfare at all times, you shouldn't be seeking it out. The last thing we want is more boxes with Australian flags on top of them just to keep a reputation. When Australia gets in a fight, it should be because our country has said, no, I will not let that scream in the night occur. And if that's the case, and it's a righteous fight, then those that are volunteering will definitely be the right people that volunteer, and they're going to train harder because they believe in the cause.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's a fair statement, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, it's really, if you're getting suckered in by the recruiting ads, really don't be that silly. If you want to join, but don't join because you think it's going to be a party, ladies.
It's not a party, and yeah, there's nothing worse than seeing that slap of reality that happens to people when they realise you're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, it's not fair for them if I wouldn't be able to advertise a job as differently as they are for what its actual role is. I wouldn't be able. No one in the civilian sector would be able to do that. That would be considered false advertising.
I think it's really, really weird that we have like the last frontier for employment for what our role is, that there's so many people that seem to be experts about our role that have never actually been in it. And that extends to, we've got people in our HR departments that work at recruiting that have never worn a uniform outside of school, who are telling people, yeah, mate, yeah. You're going, I don't want to talk to a civilian when I'm joining the military. I want to talk to someone who's in the army. And if I want to join the infantry, I want to talk to someone who's infantry. If I want to go to aviation, I want to talk to someone from aviation. What are the ins and outs? Okay, we've had this. I still want to go there, but can you tell me what sucks about the job? Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Miss Bugaboo's here. It's always nice to see her.
Where is she?
She's there.
Ah.
Yeah,
Western Australia as well, hey?
I don't know. We don't know. She's a grey woman.
Is that an old lady?
No, you know. No, you know what I mean.
Like a lurker.
Exactly. Mr. Buckroni said, I heard 2 RAR moving to Brisbane, 4 RAR coming back, and 8-9 splitting into 2 battalions. I heard that same thing, Mr. Buckroni. Any truth, Kaz? I'm interested in that.
I can't imagine how it's possible to maintain that. But where are you suddenly going to get 2,000 people trained? We only train, 60 at a time or 50 at a time with an expectation that 10 to 15 of those are going to fail in each platoon. There's only so much areas we can train them. To train a whole battalion, cadre staff of senior NCOs, seasoned section commanders, officers, leadership, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. That's a big ask to nearly double the size, or make potentially they need to make a second Royal Australian Regiment. The first Royal Australian Regiment and the second Royal Australian Regiment. I don't know, but I don't know where they'd get the manning for that.
Yeah, I heard the same thing about 8-9, so I wonder if that is true.
If they do it with 8-9, it should be that they stay in the locations where it occurs at. So if it's 8-9, then that means there's 6, 8, and 9 at Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a funny old community, haven't we, with the grapevine? How things get around.
Yeah, what's going on?
Just how me and Mr. Buckaroni heard saying sort of whispers on the grapevine. My end, his end. Okay. Where are we up to? The dude. Do you think that it will stop or get any better though, Kaz? Compare this pseudo-PC military to the likes of the Russian military, for example, who are always in some domestic or overseas conflict.
Doesn't mean they're better.
I don't know if you can compare a big military with a small one.
Australia's been in the fight for the last 100 years. You know?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
It's look, it's very easy to always say that the grass is greener. These people are better, because it's like small poppy syndrome, where everyone always pokes shit at their own defence, but always seems to elevate someone else's defence. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Exactly. Tasmanian Devil is asking how young Achilles is going.
He's great, but he got attacked by a foxy today. That's 3 times now that another dog has had a go at him. You know, I'm going to have to snap someone's dog's neck so that I can bloody teach the monkey by using the rooster's neck.
I saw a photograph of Achilles in a pram the other day.
Let's just say I used to be infantry, but hey, I'm starting to soften, team. I'm starting to soften.
Do you push him around in the pram?
I did, just once.
I love it.
My daughter wanted it, and so I pushed him around.
Why not? That's good if he gets tired, and no foxies are going to attack him in his pram, are they?
No.
Oh,
Toaster's got a good question there.
Yeah, but Jay is just reminding me, do you need to ring your little one?
Oh, I do. But that's okay. What we'll do, it's we're at the 1 hour 20.
Yep.
What we'll do is we'll speak for another 9 minutes, and I'll get off and give her totally...
Okay. Yep, all your attention.
All day.
Okay. How would you feel if Australia detached itself from the Commonwealth?
I wouldn't want to, okay? Despite the fact that I've highlighted in the past, can you think of a time where the UK actually helped Australia? Or has it only ever been Australia go to the call of the Commonwealth? Now, we're basically a subordinate state of the Commonwealth. I get that. I don't want us to break away, because I would be scared of the political correctness that would be happening to what the new thing would look like.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to know what we were swapping it for.
And it wouldn't be better. You know that it would come out with some new politically correct flag that I wouldn't be proud of. It'd be... When you cut away support, that'd be like Canada completely cutting away America. You go, are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you take for granted the little things that you don't realise are fringe benefits of being part of that pact?
Yeah, look, with the state of the world how it is right now, I don't think now's the time to be making any changes like that. Let's wait for the next long summer before we make those sort of changes. But having said that, if it happened, I have a lot of faith in Australia and its people.
Yeah. Australians, they made such an amazing country out of a place that was basically a shithole when they got here. You know, and they survived, they flourished, you know, and now we're girt by sea, always have been, and consider ourselves to be pretty much the best country in the world because of our, the fact that we're distant, you know, the fact that we've got every climate, the fact that the people are laid back. You know, all you got to do is drive 15 minutes out of any city, and all of a sudden people are back to saying, "G'day, mate, how you going? First coffee of the day? Can I get that one for you? I'm not trying to be weird."
Yeah. And you know, our land is girt by sea. We have a lot of resources. I think we'd stand a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right either way. But I think now not the time. We've got bigger fish to fry right at the moment.
I just pictured someone from the left going, "Oh yeah, hey, what's this girt by sea? Is that pollution?"
It's girt by sea. Look it up.
No, we're surrounded. We're surrounded, mate. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Look it up. And you know, I think we've got a great nation. Our people are strong, as in we do have that ingenuity. We're battlers. We can rise to a challenge, and you know, we're a great people. It doesn't matter where you've come from. We love this place.
Yeah, and the reason why I get so upset about what's happening with the USA is I'm about to turn 50 years old. I know that was a long time for, you know, Mr. P and Mr. Buckaroony, but it's fairly new for me. I'm about to turn 50, and I grew up with the USA being that pillar of light. You know, the team that cannot be beaten at the Olympics, but let's fight for second place and third place. You know, they were always the clean cut. They were the top team. They were the people to beat the innovators. They were they led the way. And that's like a friend that is fantastic at everything, but now you're seeing that they've got a problem and they're having a hard time. You don't wish them hurt.
No, exactly.
You know, and that's what I think for the USA. I want them to be the best version of them. Just like I want Portugal to be the best version of Portugal, Japan, North Korea. I want them to become part of South Korea and become Korea. I want the best for everyone. I want people's religion and their differences to be, righto, mate, well, that's the way I think. I don't like you much. I'm not going to have coffee with you, but I don't wish you harm either.
No, exactly. And if your house was flooding, he'd come along in his dinghy and pick you up.
Absolutely.
So that's the sort of people we are.
Did we just get a member just come in then?
Yeah, it was someone just subscribed. It was Mark Overstead.
Mark Overstead, that sounds like a good name.
Yeah, say good day in the chat if you feel like it. If not, it's just fine to lurk. Hello to all the long-time lurkers out there. And
if we can get some thumbs up for Mark in the chat to make him feel that in the trenches welcome, that'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah. Jay thinks you're about to have a midlife crisis and go and buy a Harley.
No Harleys here, mate. I'm buying a camper van, bro, with a rack on the back to put the pram on for me dog. Yeah. Don't back Silver Team. Guys, if you haven't put a like there yet, and you do put a like down. I'll look forward to seeing that. And other than that, let's have another question or two, and then let's get out of here.
Yep, sure.
I'll leave those up to you, Lauren.
Okay. A mechanic says most people, I believe, share your opinion, Kaz. But what do you think is holding us back? Simply. That's a good question.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly what it is. You know how there's a dickhead in every family or group where when you find out you're going to their house, everyone be careful what you say about that person, or be careful what you say to that person. Understand that person is going to be belligerent. That person doesn't think like the rest of us. That person probably doesn't even have a job. Extremely opinionated. I'm not talking about myself here. Etc. Well, what happened is they used to be the village idiot. No one actually understood what was going on, but there was something about them, and you tolerated them. 2,000 years ago, they were thrown out on the ice, and they were eaten by polar bears, or lions, or bears, etc. Starvation, ostracism. But what happened when the internet came along was it created groups which allowed the village idiot to talk to another village idiot, and then to feel like, hey, Midway Gel Ball, good to have you here, mate. Can we get some thumbs up for Midway? One of the biggest aviation gunfights that happened in the war. And, mate, welcome to the tribe. Great to have you here. Now's a great time to get that rank on team at the start of 2021 so that you're a sergeant before the end of the year. Good to have you here, mate. Some thumbs up if we can for Midway. And I like your thumbnail too.
Yeah, Midway actually has a great YouTube channel himself for a young fella. It's really good. I go check it out sometimes. I'm subscribed.
I'm going to go and check it out.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great.
Drunk Aussie's leaned on his credit card again. G'day, Kaz, a bit late, just finished work. Mate, no problems. Drunk Aussie, what's your flavour, son? I hope you're enjoying it. We were just talking about the group, the idiots. So what happens is, I see the... you think people can't make a difference as one person. One good person has a hard time making a difference. But one bad person can be a turd in a swimming pool.
And make a really negative impact, which is, really bad. Because when someone tries to make a good impact or a positive impact, they can meet a lot of resistance from people.
And they become useful idiots for people too, where they create a distraction which allows politics and other things to be able to do their nefarious crap over here while we're getting distracted facing that way.
Yeah, that's true.
But they seem to be multiplying. They really do. And one of the things that Lauren, myself and Ed want to talk about, if you haven't checked out the series yet, it's going to get better and better of every episode. The the no-say spaces, is there's a lack of shame now. There used to be shame. I expect people to feel shame under certain circumstances, and that keeps you aligned with society and means even if you can't give as much as someone else, if your hand on your heart is in a way that you are trying your best, and at least behaving, then there'd be no litter. There'd be no one getting flogged in the street. There'd be people helping each other as they have Good Samaritan opportunities to help each other. There'd be civil communication. There'd still be strife, sure. All right, but the internet has allowed the village idiots to meet each other, to make a super PAC, and then to continually stay angry.
Yep. Yep, it is. There's another question here that a couple of people wanted answered.
Yeah.
From the dude. I don't know how to approach this issue, as RAF culture is so different to army culture. Otherwise, I detest any visual forms of open political speech at work. It really isn't a question. But it's you're just going to have to swallow it, I'm afraid, if that's what your employer is doing.
Look, and it depends what it's about too. If you're going to have political speech, this is one thing I'd stipulate to someone, especially if it's in a military context. If you're a colonel, or you're a major, or you're a wing commander, or you're a squadron commander, or you're an able seaman, okay, always laugh when I say that, or you're a sergeant, you're a corporal, you're a bombardier, and you want to bring up politics, you can't use your rank. You've just opened a conversation with people that can bring on emotion, and you have that conversation with each other. You can't use your rank as a crutch to win a debate. But in saying that, although we're not allowed to have a political opinion verbally, on social media, etc., it is still very important for us to understand the political environment that we live in and forecast what's coming next, so we can avoid problems of the past from not repeating, at least echoing. So,
there was more than that, actually. He just told me to scroll back. That was in 2 parts. Do you want the first part?
Yeah, please.
As some quick advice. I'm a JNCO and transferred from Army to RAF.
Yep.
A new female employee who completed her IETs will be Aboriginal land posters in full view on her desk. Oh, right, I see. Yeah, that shouldn't really come into it.
Yeah, that shit pisses me off, because we're supposed to be, brothers and sisters, that sort of shit. And I believe that Aboriginal people were the ones who conquered the people who were here before them.
Well, apart
from that, and I don't hold that against them. The only people I hold anything against is the son, who's doing misconduct now. I don't blame
individuals. And this is the thing, is that's not the place for it.
That's right.
We are one Australia, and we're all here now. Convicts didn't ask to be sent here either, but we're all here now.
Yep.
And this is how it is, and this is a long way from there, and your desk there is not the place to have a political protest. You're meant to be one ADF. There is a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds and nationalities there, and it shouldn't even be highlighted.
Yep.
It didn't used to be.
It's like in the USA at the moment, they've made it mandatory now that the government buildings will have the LGBT flag. You're going, since when does your sexual preference need to be represented?
It's none of my business what people put up their bums. I don't need to know.
Well, there's no flag for brown eyes and big boobs and well tanned, rich women on flags.
Exactly. I don't know. It's a bit strange. And they don't really care.
No, of course not.
Signaling. That's all it is, because they're not really helping with the issues that those communities are facing. They're just putting a flag up. Get it in perspective, people.
Yep.
Don't settle for tokens anymore.
Yeah. If Ryan Ward is a great bloke, and his dad had been an asshole before he was born, how can I possibly be angry at Ryan Ward?
Not Ryan Ward's fault.
No, it's not.
No.
You know,
exactly.
like we don't feel butt chafed at all when we talk about Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
And the reason is because that was 600 years ago. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I'll judge every individual on how they behave.
That's right. Yep.
That's it. Simple as that. And how they used to behave in the past, I won't even hold that against them. It's how they act now.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and we've got some fantastic representatives in the military who are Indigenous, who are goddamn proud of the Australian flag, and they're very, very proud of their uniform, and they represent it very, very well.
Absolutely, they do.
Yep.
And the same for LGBT people in the Defence Force, you know, and they don't need tokens.
No.
So forget about it. Stop letting politicians buy you with tokens.
I've never thought about it that way.
No, it's true. Just don't do it, because they're giving you a token in exchange for an actual solution to the problems facing whatever your community concern is.
Tasmanian Devil reckons that in 2021 we're going to see a flag for Karens. I'd at least like that. That'd be minefield ahead, you know?
Yeah, then watch them go.
Let's go and poke her with a stick, you know?
Yeah, they wouldn't be happy even then.
No. Well, let's get out of here so I can go and talk to little Miss Kaz. And guys and gals, it's been a pleasure. In summary, back squatting is there to help you, not to hurt you.
Exactly.
You know, you will be retrained. It shows you that the platoon, if there was no back squads occurred, then I'd say the training's not hard enough. It needs to be hard enough that you need to be able to strive to meet the results required to keep us as the best small army in the world. You know, it's that failure weight is the John West rejects that makes us the best kind of philosophy. So when it happens, I'm here. Contact me. We have a talk. But don't project it to the people you're working with there. Detach yourself from that. Use that emotion. Ring me instead. We'll have a conversation. And that way no one actually sees that of passion, emotion, disappointment. What do I do now? That's what we hear. Okay? We'll see you on the Patreon so that we can actually achieve that. Because without that, we don't have that open dialogue, and all we can do is treat you like a group here instead of the individual service what you get via the bat phone. So
exactly. Yep. Stay safe if you're west side. Jay, make sure you look after Miss B with all those fires up your way.
Yeah. And let us know how it goes, Jay, because it is very important, mate. And if they catch one of those little sons of bitches that does the lighting, yeah, I believe it's attempted murder. You know.
I think it is too, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Mucho respecto. Love to the USA and COVID. Leave our diggers alone. Especially Western Australian ones. And Ed B. Jr. See you later, team. The world would not be the same without you. See you later.